In our previous journeys, we have explored 3 distinct woodlands across the United Kingdom, each serving as a magnet for the unexplained. From the shadowed figures of Cannock Chase to the ghostly whispers of Clapham Wood and the unnerving silence of Pembrey. But today, we venture into a place where the anomalies are far more diverse. A forest that holds not just one ghost, but a terrifying collection of entities that have haunted generations. Welcome to Case 4, The Darkness of Delamere. When we look back at our earlier cases, there was a specific character to the terror. At Clapham Wood, it was the weight of the supernatural, the feeling of being watched by malevolent spirits from within an oppressive, thick atmosphere. Witnesses didn't just see shadows, they felt a darkness that seemed to possess the very trees themselves. Delamere, however, is something altogether different. Despite the differences in these reports, a haunting geographical pattern emerged. In almost every instance, the strange activity was centered around the remnants of Iron Age hill forts. These ancient earthworks, now reclaimed by the growing forest, have led many to believe that the rituals once performed on this soil have left a permanent stain, a spiritual imprint that refuses to fade with time. Delamere Forest introduces us to a similar ancient backdrop. Located in the heart of Cheshire, this woodland was once divided into 2 separate medieval territories, Mara and Mondrem. At its highest peak stands the formidable Edisbury Hill, crowned by the silent ruins of yet another Iron Age fortification. But it is the diversity of the lore here that truly sets this place apart. The history of the forest's terror stretches back millennia. During the expansion of the Roman road system under the Flavian emperors, the landscape began to change. Following the initial invasion of AD 43, the Roman military built highways, not for the public, but for the swift movement of their legions to secure a land that was still wild and deeply resistant to their presence. One specific project was a road connecting the fortress at Chester to the essential salt deposits near Northwich. On a map, it looked like a simple, short task, but the terrain was a different story. A vast, ancient woodland stood as a wall between them. To save time, the Roman engineers made a fateful choice to cut a path directly through the heart of the darkness. As work began, a series of disturbing discoveries rattled the laboring crews. Workers began finding animal carcasses strewn along the proposed route. These weren't normal kills. The bodies were torn apart, showing signs of a massive predator, yet they were left uneaten, as if the killing was done for sport or as a warning to those who dared enter. In their letters back home, the engineers spoke of hearing deep, resonant calls that vibrated through the trees. It was a sound unlike any animal known to them, described as having a strange metallic tone. Some claim to have caught glimpses of a gargantuan reptilian form, low to the ground, moving with a silent, predatory grace through the dense undergrowth. The skepticism of the officers lasted only until the men began to vanish. No official records remain, but the stories tell of soldiers failing to return from simple patrols or being taken from their posts in the dead of night. The situation quickly escalated, and the military was forced to intervene against an enemy they did not understand. The Cheshire garrison sent legionnaires to hunt the beast. What followed is a tale of blood and myth. It was described as a dragon, a scaled, formidable horror whose hide was thick enough to turn away Roman steel. The battle was fierce, and the casualties were high before the creature was finally brought down. But many believe its shadow never truly left the forest. Centuries passed, but the forest continued to yield similar nightmares. Medieval chroniclers recorded accounts of nobles and local militias facing a great reptilian entity that terrorized their villages and slaughtered their livestock. The descriptions were hauntingly identical to the Roman records, a large, dark-scaled predator that appeared from the trees and vanished just as quickly. The pattern of sightings did not stop in the Middle Ages. In the summer of 1985, a married couple, the Taylors, went for a simple walk in Delamere. They were locals, familiar with the trails, but as they strayed from their path, the atmosphere shifted. The birds stopped singing, the air turned sour, and they found themselves in a clearing that felt wrong. Then came the smell, an overpowering, rotten stench. They saw what they thought was a massive outcrop of rock, dark and uneven. But as they watched, the rock began to breathe. It was a creature of impossible size, its body caked in layers of mud, its skin resembling hardened armor plating. It was as if the earth itself was coming to life. A squat head rose from the mud, revealing a blunt snout and jaws filled with jagged, irregular teeth. It stood on powerful limbs with curved claws that dug deep into the soil as it adjusted its weight. The movement was slow, terrifyingly deliberate. The Taylors, paralyzed with fear, finally turned and fled into the trees. They ran until they met a park ranger. Gasping for breath, they told him what they had seen. But the ranger showed no surprise, no alarm. He simply told them to leave the forest and expressed a calm hope that they would visit again under better circumstances. His lack of reaction was perhaps the most frightening part of the entire encounter. Fast forward to 2019, near Blake Moss, a man named Paul Hughes was walking his dog on a familiar trail. Suddenly, the dog stopped. It stiffened, ears raised, and began to emit a low, sustained growl. Paul followed the dog's gaze and saw two small, glowing red points of light staring at him from behind a massive tree. It was a figure well over 8 feet tall. It had no fur, only a gray-green scaled skin that looked both smooth and textured. It didn't attack, it just watched. After a minute, the figure began to lose its definition, its edges blurred, and it simply faded away into the shadows. Paul left the forest and has never returned since. Reptiles are not the only anomalies here. In 1974, a team of wildlife specialists was woken by powerful, resonant calls. They saw a cat-like animal pacing in the moonlight. It had elongated fangs resembling the extinct saber-toothed tiger. When a second call answered from deep within the forest, the creature vanished instantly into the blackness. Are these entities or echoes of time? Some believe Delamere is a corridor, a time slip where the past and present momentarily collide. Drivers see phantom coaches, walkers see Roman legions marching in perfect formation before dissolving into the mist. It seems that some moments in history are too heavy to ever truly stay in the past. Delamere Forest offers no bodies, no bones, only the haunting testimony of those who have strayed from the path. Whether it is geology, psychology, or something far more ancient, the pattern is clear. Not all ecosystems are fully understood in the modern age. This was Case 4. Stay safe and sleep well if you can.